Welcome everybody to another session. We're on like 12. Every time I post this to Twitch, it goes like session 6. I don't know how to change that. I have to find that setting in OBS, but it's session 12, which is pretty crazy of our final arc here. Over the last 3 weeks, you guys have surely thought through exactly what you're gonna do and who you're allied with now. Yes, maybe. Um, we left off last time with Laurel saying, "We'll have 2 weeks to think about it, so I'm sure we'll figure it out." So hope you've got that. Last session 3 weeks ago was a pretty long and intense one. You all made your way into the noble district and then into the mining district of Mirabar in order to acquire diamonds. When you found yourself in the mining districts, you worked your way through a series of chambers that led to a banquet hall where you found a number of happy dwarves playing music and eating to their heart's content, singing songs, and they appeared to be just miners having a great time, living their lives down in Mirabar, unaware of the happenings above. And you went into the throne room where you met the royalty, people running Mirabar and the mines. And you had an audience with their leader and discussed what you were going to do with the diamonds, where you informed them that your plan was to bring back a primordial powerful being and restore the material plane to its previous glory. In that interaction, a number of things happened. First of all, Isolde noticed that the dwarves seemed to be feasting upon the flesh of humanoids, their comrades, as she noticed when she saved one from choking on a chunk of bone. You also noticed that the leader of the group said some curious phrases indicating some connection to what had previously happened in the tunnels above in your encounter with Janus. The connection, as far as I could tell, was not fully understood. There's sort of pieces missing from that puzzle. You were granted a chance to harvest the diamonds that you sought, and you went to the mine and did so, loading up your bags of holdings with thousands and thousands of gold worth of diamonds, just pouring it in with the help of the miners there who seemed happy to give it to you. And in that process, Damon, who encountered a dwarf that sounded like Johoff, dispelled magic on one of the dwarves and ultimately freed that dwarf from some sort of spell or effect, and that dwarf seemed to be in shock and terror, telling you all to flee, and Damon struck him down in a mercy killing as you ran from the premises and teleported away. But while you were doing that, Veyril sat outside, sort of watching and keeping guard, and noticed a curious, faint but clear from his ability to see things and discern things, teleportation circle, and he jotted down the coordinates of it, and you, I believe, took that to be a link to Valindra's tower, and you arrived back in your safe spot, Johoff's temple monastery for little shits, and you ran into Larlock and Hadariel and Shandakul, who informed you again of the pressing nature of your current mission. You are all, so to speak, on the clock. You are all quested with helping bring back Sardior, and it was Larlock who taught you all of these things and gave you all of the sort of pieces you needed to know, who's been secretly, or not so secret now, helping Vosner through his dreams to ensure that these events transpired, all so that you could all together kill Sardior and take over in his absence. You, of course, remembered this immediately as you were talking, and there was a debate about exactly what should happen, and Larlock sort of pulled out one of the final amulets, pieces of the Thane of Sardior, the Topaz, which was once in the hands of the Queen of Luskan, who he made a deal with at some point. So you now know that Larlock is in possession of that amulet. You know the other 3 amulets to be 1 in the hands of Janus, 2 in the hands of Valindra, and the 3rd in the hands of Larlock. He offered you the final necklace, assuming that you can get the other 2, with the caveat that he's only going to give it to you if you're willing to help him and his cause. You then went to the Isle, the Dragon Isle, and delivered the diamonds to Hrodel, and there they're beginning the resurrection, true resurrection ritual to bring back Charisma, the Sapphire Dragon. Did I miss anything?
That felt very comprehensive.
Thanks, I watched the episode this morning. There's a lot going on. Before we start, I think our first scene is this resurrection of Charisma. Before we start, do we have any questions? You'll get your extended marks. They'll activate when Charisma comes back. Just spoiler alert.
Let's do it.
Okay. Give me 2 seconds to start this shit up.
And my things are in.
Yeah, so what I basically did is I modified your wild shape forms so that they do more damage, and all of them should be able to fly. Basically turned all of your elementals into dragon elementals. And I'll add more to that in the future, but if combat comes up, you'll at least have that as a starting point.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll eventually give all of them like their default breath weapons and stuff too. I just have to drag all that over.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So, you meet in the center of town of the Dragon Isle ruin. Town is beginning to fill with more and more dragonborn and other dragons as they've sort of come from near and far to observe the rituals and to help take place, or help Sardior return to the material plane. You are all sort of, I guess, let's see, you went on that long mission. We'll say they're going to do the resurrection in the morning just to, like, save thing, whatever. Let's see, how many spells have you guys burned through a bunch of shit? Yeah.
Not really cast a lot.
Alright, I'll just say you all get a long rest, go to bed, wake up in the morning, and the ritual begins.
I was thinking, the next time we took a long rest, if I had the spell slots for it, I did just want to say I was going to change my contingency spell to trigger, like, if Isolde drops to 0 HP, contingency goes off and dimension doors me directly to her side.
Okay, that's cool
Can
with
I
me.
just say that real quick?
Yeah.
Cool.
Does anybody want to get different spells for their guild rings?
Oh yeah. What is it? Like, what's the spell slot
It's third
that we
level.
have to get? 3rd level?
Yeah.
You have to be attuned to the ring for it to work, right? Or did I change that? Oh, I think I just...
You do have to be attuned to it, but I think you gave it an extra attunement slot or something.
Yeah, I
like that?
think that's what I did. So you do have to be attuned to it, but everybody's got an additional attunement slot, I think.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's up to 3rd level, right?
Yeah. So like if you put you could put 3 first level spells, or a 2nd and a 1st, or a 3rd.
Can I get a haste?
Mm.
If someone with haste has a spare spell slot to add.
Yeah, I assume you'll have you have enough spell slots between you the night before that if you want to just work that out.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna...
I can haste into your ring.
Sweet.
Just hasten that ring.
Did I miss
That
a
sounds
long
like a
rest?
euphemism.
Have we long rested here? I think I saw.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah, you can get a long rest in. We're basically saying, like, you came back long rested, and then at the end of that, they were preparing a long ceremony.
Sweet.
It's been a while.
Um,
But exhausted.
how do I add a spell to this, or do I just mark it down?
I just like add it to the description.
Oh, were you at exhaustion 1 on Beryl?
Yes, I was.
Now you're at 0. Okay, I'll mark it.
Good day.
Oh, weird. I can't. There we go.
Edit item.
Cool. Good spread there.
I agree.
Any other point of order things?
And then first thing in the morning when we get up, I will cast Mind Blank on myself.
Got it.
So I'll cast that in the chat.
Very cool. All right.
I guess maybe detail.
Okay. So, gathered in the square are a number of dragonborn and dragons, some perched up on the rooftops, as Rodol begins the casting of True Resurrection. The diamonds that you have assembled, 20,000 gold worth of them, are spread in like a circle all the way around this amulet that now lays on the stones, cobblestones, the mossy cobblestones of this place. And Rodol begins casting the spell. Now I gotta look. How long does True Resurrection take?
I think it's 24 hours, or like an hour, something long.
True Resurrection takes 1 hours. I love it. So for 1 hour, you watch as Rodol begins casting the spell, and I think for the course of the hour, it's not just an hour of him, messing around, moving reagents around, and then poof, he comes back. It's an hour of like slowly bringing this being back to life as like shards of his essence seem to like almost fly in the wind, accumulating in one spot, as though like bits of his atoms, which have been spread to the all corners of Faerun, begin to pull back together, sweeping across the land as like it's almost like a sand or dust flies through the air, sort of sparkling, and the diamonds sort of merge with it in a spinning spiral in the middle of the courtyard, slowly causing this being to materialize. As you see before you, sort of a shimmering sapphire and now sort of partially composed of diamonds dragon, sort of animating, coming to life in front of you, one pixel at a time, sort of. As you're watching, is there anything you all say or do? Is there any additional... Oh, also all of you roll me a d6.
I was gonna say, she's probably just like paying really close attention because she's never seen resurrection magic of this intensity before.
Yeah. As the resurrection magic takes place, excellent. As the resurrection magic takes place, bits of the diamond dust seem to accumulate to you as well as your mark begins to accumulate more and more specks and expand. Your powers, you feel them grow as one of Sardior's Thanes comes back into existence. In front of you, charisma continues to take more and more form. But with that comes images, memories. You find yourself sort of drifting off, thinking, almost daydreaming about a time long ago, but not a time that you were present for. A time your mark was present for. The essence of this boon, which has been sort of etched onto your flesh, gives you memories from a time long past. Isolde, you remember this spell. You've seen it before. You've used it, or not you, I guess, Ilmater. As you watch your own hands sort of shift in your mind into the sort of bloodied and beaten hands of Ilmater as he puts his hand down on the chest of a figure you do not recognize. At least you don't know him personally, though you feel a strong connection. You watch as Ilmater's hand, now your hand outstretched, breathes life into Asmodeus, lying dead on the ground, covered in blood, having suffered great wounds in battle. You look up, and you see as two figures, giant dragons, one metallic, one with multiple heads, Tiamat and Bahamut, fighting, biting on both sides of a giant ruby dragon. They're ripping Sardior apart. Ilmater healing, resurrecting Asmodeus, and Bane on the ground. She's bringing them back to life. You see on the battlefield Coralon, a androgynous elf with beautiful golden hair, lying dead on the ground, having recently been ripped in half by Sardior. Next to him, Tempest, a god as well, from your understanding. Laying next, both of them clutching their weapons, unconscious, dead, bleeding. But the battle is turning, and you see as Sardior is beginning to wane in his strength, being ripped apart by these beings. And eventually, the final blow is struck. A Monitor, Primus, and Mistral all flying in the air, casting their spells, and deep into the heart of Sardior, they cast their magic until eventually Sardior is ripped apart from the inside, bleeding out on the ground, letting out one gasp, and finally exploding in a bright light, leaving on the ground five eggs of different gems, sort of in the crater left by this being. You see all of these beautiful gems: sapphire, emerald, topaz, crystal, and whatever one I forgot, amethyst. And you look, as you stare through Ilmater's eyes, at this sapphire egg, and then you come back, looking at Hrodel, casting this spell, bringing back this sapphire egg into existence in its full adult form. You remember charisma. At least part of you does. The spell continues. Taryn, as you watch this, you feel a strange sense of rage as your mark sort of plays back in your mind from the perspective of Bahamut. That same very scene, Bahamut fighting against his own father, his own creator, saying, "Chaos can never reign," as he bites deeply into the throat of Sardior alongside his evil but forever twin Tiamat, both of them struggling against their parent, overcoming them. Damon, in this process, you watch as this egg, or this dragon, is being brought back to life, and you remember this moment. Something comes back to you. Primus instills a memory in you, and you draw your attention to it. You know how this works. You know what Primus decided. You know how Primus constructed the primordial prisons that held these eggs. If you were given the chance, you could recreate the very cages that Primus built with his own hands to hold these thanes and to keep the material plane split into all of the realms that it is composed of. Varel, you watch in your mind, seeing Mystra interact with Charisma's egg, suspending it in a time stasis so that they cannot grow, so long as they are held within these prisons. You see how Mystra and Amonitor and Primus construct the very apparatus that build the universe that you are now a part of. And finally, Vosner. You watch as Saloon struggles, going back and forth, not sure exactly who to side with. She was not of these people, she did not come with these people, but they are right, insofar as the chaos which plagued this plane for so long is too much to bear for so many beings. A new existence, one where things were a bit more fair, perhaps one where certain beings had a chance to live, even though chaos and nature may reign. A limited chaos, a mitigated one, one where things were a little bit more safe, where beings had a chance if they weren't great, powerful dragons. You watch Saloon grapple with this choice as she chooses to use the power of nature in her own hand to side with the usurpers. All of you experience these visions as your marks grow in power, as this being is brought back into existence, and the entire sky fills with clouds and rain begins to fall on your faces as Charisma is brought back to life.
Vosner kind of takes a breath and just processes the vision that he saw. And sort of feels, I guess, a slight empathy towards Saloon, but at the same time, curiosity. Wondering where she came from, if she's even a part of this plane or not. So he's just a little bit more curious now. And the dragon is back. What does the dragon look like? What are they doing?
As Charisma is brought back to life, a boom crack of thunder emerges as lightning strikes in the distance. Charisma reaches his head and stretches, sort of shaking off death as he looks to all of you. You see a look of seriousness. Charisma is a being of very few words, commanding with merely his presence. He is a very powerful looking dragon, and yet a small one. Blue, sort of shimmering scales glinting in the limited light. As Charisma comes back, you feel the light of the material plane begin to increase. The shadow receding. In this place, which is, filled with this primordial magic, already there was a pushback against the shadow, but now you feel it much stronger. The light is beginning to return to Faerun. As Charisma sort of roars into the sky, all of the dragon and dragonborns cheer, flapping their wings. There is a great deal of happiness and cheer. A victory this day for the dragons. And Rodel says, "Welcome back, brother. We are on our way." You all feel as your marks expand in their power, as you gain your new abilities. Partially constituted by the return of charisma, but also partially by your own marks and your own understanding of the beings who impress their marks on you expands. You are beginning to understand the gods that blessed you. Charisma turns to Rodel and says, "What is our next step?" Rodel begins to beckon him back into a chamber. "We have much to discuss." And they leave as everyone begins to sort of go about their day. Is there anything you would all like to do?
We see Lyra over there.
You do?
What is she? How does she take all of this in?
Well, she seems pretty excited. I mean, she's kind of caught up in the festivities. She's chatting with this Dragonborn over here.
Gotcha. Making eyes. So she's not like concerned about.
If you remember, I believe Damon wiped out almost all of her memory of a bunch of things.
Right.
So
Yeah.
she's in a happy place, albeit one of general ignorance, I believe.
Got it.
Good place to be.
Gotcha. Cool. I'll just kind of look at Izzy and Taryn and see what their reaction is, and say that was incredibly powerful, and maybe we can overcome, I don't know, this darkness. But
Aaron's a little shaken by his vision, but he's putting on like a happy face.
Yeah, I would say Izzy looks troubled. She's not quite as good at masking as Taryn is. She says, "That was incredible magic. I think we have a lot of things to do. a lot of things to discuss.
Yes. Did the rest of you receive visions as well?
Yes. Ones that I feel like I understand, or I'm supposed to understand, or maybe that I've seen before. But it is hard to reconcile them with what we are doing currently.
In what way?
I believe I understand what you mean, Captain. Perhaps we should discuss these elsewhere. Perhaps this is not the appropriate venue for relaying the information we received.
Agreed.
Are we getting? Is anyone taking notice of us? Sort of like a shadowy,
No, I think there's.
roguey, Shadowborn, or
No.
Dragonborn around.
No, everybody is sort of like shaking hands and clapping. I mean, basically, for a lot of these folks, this is sort of a deep, ancient religion, and they're seeing like miracles happen. They're pretty excited. They don't really understand the details.
Got it. All right. Well, let's go have a powwow. Vosner kind of nods and agrees with Damon. Says, "I think that would be wise. Let's find a different venue."
Where are you going?
Do we have housing here in Dragon?
Yeah, do we have
Yeah,
private
you've
neighbors?
got like this place right here has been like your main house down here.
Nice.
I can move your cameras to it.
Wow, that's cool.
Whoa. Foundry, what have you done? Spoiling us.
As we like make our way to the house, Taryn will like make sure he like congratulates or like pats on the back or whatever some of the Dragonborn like on the way.
Oh yeah, they like really are sort of excited to like shake your hand. Yeah, they're like really pumped.
Nice. Yeah. I guess Vosner will do the same, kind of keeping up appearances.
Damon will awkwardly try to follow suit.
You
Very
all
well.
like overshake the hands of the locals. They're sort of like,
Yes, truly remarkable.
Veyral tactlessly just beelines it towards our lodgings.
Like a typical wizard. Yeah, what are you doing? Get down there.
okay. You all get inside your house.
Before we do, just because it's been a while, I'm gonna cast my familiar crow,
Nice.
and have it perch like on the gutter above the door to our lodging. And oh, I thought I had a choice. I was gonna see through its eyes, but keep my ears intact so that I could converse with my friends. But
We'll
it's
say you can do that. I don't really care.
cool. And so, as I
Technically
sit,
God now.
as we sit and discuss, I'll be keeping an eye on the door through the familiar, but all ears and ready to talk.
Sweet.
And we're all level 18
Yep.
now? Dang. I don't know if my thing is updated.
Should be.
Yep. Got it. And we got a long rest. Let's fix that.
The like quick toolbar on the top of the screen isn't here.
Oh yeah. Let me token action HUD. I don't know.
I mean, it's not really relevant now. I just
Do we have a dice rolling tray? Sort of button around here.
Yeah, we've lost a few things with the upgrade.
Yeah.
So.
Can anyone roll ability checks? I tried to roll an insight check and it didn't roll, but curious if that's just me.
Oh yeah, that doesn't work either. Lots of things are broken.
I'm gonna roll athletics, just for fun.
Vosner climbs over the tables and chairs to find a seat.
Exactly. I've become more feral as a druid.
the new mark is really taking its toll.
It's fitting.
Okay, I rolled a check on Terran. It worked, but it was with the old character sheet. Let me. We'll see. Let's see what happens. The game might be totally broken. Who knows? Investigation. That didn't work. Okay.
I guess while you fiddle with that, Vosner will say, it seems that we need to make a choice. Much like our, I guess we can call them patron, would say, are we going to join against the dragons, or assume the roles ourselves? I don't know what you saw, but in my vision, Saloon was very conflicted. She loved nature, she loved the world, but she had great empathy for the beings that lived in it. And the chaos that was unleashed made it almost impossible for beings like myself, or Zelda, Meryl, to exist, let alone thrive. I've lived in nature for a long time before meeting with you all, and I know that the strongest survive, but there is also a balance. The weakest also reign. Without one, the others can't exist. And it's not about strong or weak, it's about the role that they play. So maybe those who bestowed our marks have some sort of wisdom that we don't have. But I don't know if unleashing complete and total chaos is the thing. Though does not make me any more forgiving, I guess, to the current gods either. I don't know what cost that they had to pay. And that's where I'm at. But first, I know for me, restoring this plane to a place that it was is more important at the moment.
I think we need to keep in mind that while there may have been wisdom to the gods' decision, it's not like the world they built was just either. Like, they kept the lords of the abyss and Asmodeus around, and the evil gods were just as elevated as the good ones.
Yes, that is the part that I don't quite understand. In my vision, I saw Ilmater embracing Asmodeus and assisting Bane, and they all were cooperating with one another. And it is hard to reconcile how the world went from that to, I guess, the war of good against evil.
Does Rosner know if did he see Tiamat in his vision and Comet?
Yeah.
Does he know if Tiamat still exists? Sort of like in lore, like as much as like the other two.
Yeah. You know the god Tiamat, goddess Tiamat, as a evil, I mean, in the lore, at least chromatic dragon, multi-headed dragon, who is the sort of opposite side of the coin to Bahamut, who is the father of chromatic dragons.
Mm. Vosner would sort of say again, well, what if it's more about balance than our understandings of what good and evil are? Isilda, you have incredible healing powers, right? Some powers that I've never seen anyone else wield. On the one hand, it restores life, and I have some of those capabilities. But I've seen the very same sort of magical power at the same time inflict horrendous wounds on your own body. Would you say divinity and necromancy are opposed to one another? Or are they present, and do we have to reconcile and balance them?
I think, you understand balance as well as anyone else. There's a balance to them. I don't think that is the same as, like Taryn said, allowing great evil to continue existing in the world. Think about the things that Bane has done, or Asmodeus has done, or their servants. Right? It is on a different scale, I think. And I know that, at least I would imagine that the world can't be entirely good, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out whether or not Ilmater and the other gods were using the others. Like, they needed their powers to take down Sardior, and so they were using them only to, I guess when things were said and done, go back to hating each other. I'm not sure if it was some sort of temporary alliance, or if Asmodeus and Bane were being deceived.
I mean, they seem to get just as good of a setup. The good guys. They got their own planes, their own worshippers.
It's true.
And they have all of them squandered it. I don't see that the gods are worth considering at this point.
I'm not saying that they got it right. And they are incredibly ancient and distant beings. Disconnected, I would say. So, whatever happened between that time and now, or even before then, to me at least, is a mystery. But I think at the same time, I want to know what cost there was.
Damon, as they're talking about this, your mind is still reeling with the schematics of this reconstruction of the universe. You see from Primus's mind how he took sort of primordial forces, sort of a whole, it's like a fire hose of essence pouring into the cosmos, and how he filtered it, allowing certain types of beings to be deposited in their respective destinations, as though Primus, with the help of the other beings, was able to reroute the forces of nature and put them into neat, organized, and orderly categories. The structure of the cosmos had a necessity to it, or at least was one of many possible orderings.
After I listen to everybody talk about what they saw for a while, Damon will say, "My vision did not include any insight into Primus's motivation for why he did what he did, other than what I can only assume is his desire for order. But my vision did reveal to me how he did what he did, and whatever we decide, I believe I now have the knowledge to help carry out whatever plan we come to."
Whatever plan must be carried out, indeed. Whatever plan must be enforced. It seems one way or another, no matter the decision. We will have to use our strength to set things as we see fit.
And our wisdom.
Indeed. Wisdom, I think the old gods lacked. Wisdom, I am not sure that I see in Larlock.
Come here, Paco.
Should we discuss further with Larlock what his intentions are once, I guess, we are put in that position?
Has he
I
mentioned
don't know if that would be wise.
I just want to understand. And you have seen him the most, right, Fosner? I mean, I feel like we need to understand Larlock's intentions. whether or not they are actually an ally.
Larlock seems to want us to do the exact same thing as the gods, but have us in his position. It's not like he's isn't working with devils.
Right.
Like, I don't think having just replacing Asmodeus with a new devil is a better situation.
Daryl
I agree
nods.
with that assessment. Larlock is not different. Larlock is more of the same.
It occurs to me only that we find ourselves in a vacuum, an unanswered question, something of chaos. And one way or another, the strongest decision will be the one that prevails. And in a way, one of our decisions involves just that. This is Sardior's camp. This is how the dragons operate.
Yes. I think that's more than perhaps the gods had before. I think it would be a good idea if we explored more of what Larlock has done. We ask him why he's made the decisions he's made. Maybe he can tell us some of his history. Maybe it would give us some insight and some clues to avoid the pitfalls that we see. Though, again, I don't entirely trust the gods still. So I feel like we should keep our plans, whatever they are, whatever they become, close to our own chest. And I'll look over to Veral and say, I hope we've been alone during this time. Being reminded of us being scryed on before.
There are no scrying orbs in Veryl's vision at all.
Well, I'm temporarily blinded looking out the crow, but yeah, I can switch that off as an action, so.
Cool.
So we will question Larlock's intentions and proceed to make our decision.
Are there other options other than Sardior or Larlock that could be explored?
Looking at Damon. You got the magic robot eye.
There is, of course,
was
always
looking
the
at-
option of restoring the prior order.
Taryn was looking at Vera when he said that.
Well, I mean, above table, or I had assumed it was Sardior, Larlock, and us, or the old gods.
Okay.
Could just be us, right? But
Damon, knowing now the architecture that Primus constructed for the cosmos with the help of the other pre-gods or gods or whatever you want to call them, you know that part of the filtering required a place for powerful evil beings. There was sort of a sense that it needed to go somewhere. Like the sewage, like the sewage needs to leave the city. There needs to be places for evil beings, for chaotic beings, for orderly beings, for good beings. Everything needs to be housed, because if not, then those things will breach into all the other realms. And so if there is another option, a fourth option, there is still a question of how to handle these powerful domains, how to handle these sort of primordial movements of energies through the cosmos. And if they are to be handled, someone would need to lord over those realms to keep them in check, to control the boundaries, so to speak. So whatever path moving forward you all choose, these things need to be accounted for. But Damon, knowing this construction, possibly could come
Keep it
up with
open.
another.
So what you're saying is there's like metaphysical logistical reasons for.
Yes.
Okay.
It seems that Primus could have done any number of things in bifurcating the realms as he did. But whatever path is chosen, there is a certain necessity to any given construction of the realm. There must be good and evil, order and chaos. There must be room for all things, or those things will breach, and we will return to a realm of only chaos, the sort of Sardior of it all.
I'm muted, Gert. Sorry, Gert.
Are there other viable ways to organize or order the world?
Perhaps Perhaps the issue wasn't with the order, it was with the old gods. I mean, it wasn't so much the issue that Asmodeus was given a place and locked away, it's that he didn't remain locked away, and the same with Bane. I mean, so much was caused by Bane's followers, so maybe the issue is not the order or letting those things have a place. The issue is that they weren't well managed. And that if we were to instate a new system, a new order, new gods, that we would just have to be more diligent. The gods spent so much energy restricting the power of people. I mean, our power for resurrection, for healing, and think of all the good people that we lost because of that. Perhaps, I don't know. It is strange to think the words, if we were gods. But if we were, to just give more power to the people to be diligent, to keep those things in check, and know that we can't do that all ourselves.
They would know that Mistra, in constructing the weave as she did, capping the power of mortals, was essentially a way of keeping atom bombs out of the hands of mortals. Denying mortals the wish spell, denying mortals the ability to cast things above 9th level, effectively. These are the restrictions put in place by the Weave. These are restrictions that Varel and others could remove if they were in charge of constructing the cosmos anew.
Unlimited power at the fingertips of all is, in a way, no different than the reign of chaos, wouldn't you say? I agree there may be a better order, one better than the old gods. I only fail to see how this is anything other than the decision made by the strongest and what we decide to leave in place. If we were God seems much less hypothetical as well.
What did you think that Johaf would say if he were here? I've been thinking on that lately. Whether or not the decisions that we make will be the best decisions for those without magical powers, or the vulnerable people that aren't interested in these sort of hierarchies of the gods.
They can be offered care.
It dawns on Damon that another construction, one where the material plane is completely isolated from all the other planes and not tethered to the shadow plane, one where the material plane stands alone, sort of cut off from all of the metaphysical forces that power it currently. It would be a world without magic, a world without demons, angels. Dragons may live for a while, but slowly their essence would fade. Might be fairer for those like Johaf, but at what cost?
This would be another domain to manage, to contain, to be of concern.
If we seek the fairest option for those who live in the material plane, that might be it. To cut them off from all other realms, to let them live their lives free of interference. I do not know that this is the best option.
It is a place free of chaos and evil, is it not?
I do not think it would be free of chaos and evil, but the chaos, the evil, would be limited to what they can do themselves. Just as the good, the order that they could provide would be limited to what they could provide for themselves. But they would not be under the thumb of gods, good or evil, of monsters, of the forces that currently govern their lives and make their decisions irrelevant from time to time.
A lukewarm domain of balance.
I think there are parts of that that seem attractive, but I don't know if that is the key either. I mean, considering also all of the wonder that would be lost in a world without magic. And I don't know.
Be a world without healing as well.
Without healing, without dragons, and she'll look fondly at Taryn. Without... I mean, I think that Vero was right, that there's a certain wisdom maybe that we have that the old gods lacked, but I think that a great deal of that wisdom came from those who did not have magic. And I think that there will be something lost as well for those of magic if that separation exists. But if the other planes continue to exist, if there are divine planes and elemental planes and Feywild and all of that, there's something that those planes will lack by being kept away from, well, from people like Johoff. And my parents, and so many others that we've known.
How would we the vulnerable when they are open, both to the risks of the divine and the devils?
Well, I think it shouldn't just be that anyone can cast, magic of extremely high levels. Like, I understand Mistra's desire to not give world-ending powers to anyone who studies hard enough. So, I
Magic by
understand
merit.
that.
Magic by merit.
Right.
We could allow the lukewarm domain of balance to boil occasionally, so to speak.
But perhaps also in a different world, the divine does not need to be so far removed. I mean, if we were to stay here, to be a strong influence, a check against such powers, a diligence against evil, perhaps we just stay invested and, yes, vulnerable. I know that the divine had their planes for their own protection, but I think if we stay, we try to be good stewards, try to encourage the use of magic when it is good, and try to keep evil in check. Maybe that is the best that we can do. And teach others to appreciate not only those with power, but those with kindness and those with loyalty and I don't know. She kind of
It is
begins her usual habit of pacing around the room.
For what it is worth, this decision feels enormous, the largest we have ever had to make, or indeed that anyone has had to make. But given what we know about the structure of the realms and how they came to be, it is possible that whatever we decide will be but one iteration of many iterations. We may be simply the next in line to make decisions such as this. I have always relied on you for the wisdom I have lacked, all of you, and whatever you decide now, I am behind it 100%. And he looks at Izzy as he says that last part.
Hmm. I think you are right, my friend. It's almost certain that we are just one iteration, and if we remain vulnerable and stay here, that someday someone will come to challenge us, and that is something we have to recognize.
We could, in principle, inevitably forestall this challenge.
If I muted Gert a while ago, in case you want to unmute yourself, Gert, you are welcome. Oh wait, I wonder. Hold on.
Am I muted now?
Wasn't I
You are
just
now
hearing Garrett?
unmuted. I don't know if maybe I made it so you couldn't unmute yourself because I'm an admin and my mute is more powerful. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. You can talk now if you'd like.
Okay. Because I'm going it through my phone, so
Sure.
yeah. Anyway, but much to Joe Hoff's, memory, semi inclinations, we would welcome the challenge because however many centuries we may live, we too may grow out of touch and disconnected or fall down a path as the world has changed, whatever iteration it is. And then the gods need to evolve to meet the needs. So I think being closer, being willing to change, be mutable, grow, listen, be driven to empathy, while also sharing the wisdom that won't lead to destruction, sharing the resources that would lead to balance and thriving of all things. I think that needs to be considered.
Gardens require careful tending.
Yes. Maybe we need to be better gardeners. If we do decide to take on that mantle.
What of the forces of chaos in all of this?
Yes, I think we are forgetting about the fact that we are going to have to resurrect and then contain the creation forces of the world. Do we even think that we can do that?
We can do that. It will be difficult, almost impossible. But if it comes to it, we do have what it takes to do so.
She seems a little bit comforted at that. Needed that little bit of external confidence.
By
As
what
to
means?
the forces of chaos, whether or not I care for Larlock personally, we do already have at least a couple volunteers to watch over those aspects of creation for which we have little taste or patience. If not Larlock, it is possible we could consider others. The Queen of Luskan and Gilgamesh have proven themselves formidable. Perhaps they have a role to play in this new hierarchy.
That is true.
Is it possible to negotiate with the forces of chaos rather than try to contain them? Feels more in keeping with the nature of what it is we're dealing with.
I am not sure I understand what you mean by negotiate. In your view, what would this entail?
Through strategy, so to speak, playing the game of the dragons and chaos, through our cleverness and strength, keep ourselves appropriately separate, perhaps not entirely.
Chaos is probably the one constant thing. It's the source of power, the source of sort of what we understand what the world has come to be. Without chaos, there's no growth. There's no debate on challenging what has already been set in foundation. If that element of change wasn't there, we wouldn't have this conversation because we wouldn't be able to. There'd be no concept for us to even think about something different. Because we can change, we can grow. We've all become tremendously powerful, even through accident or diligence or whatever other motivations. We are much different and changed now than when we first came together. And I'll look at Izzy and Taryn and then around the room. It's I think that's just that's the nature of what it means to exist. So chaos is something that will exist even in order. Because without chaos, there wouldn't be any order. There wouldn't be anything against it to organize, really. So to negotiate chaos, I don't know. I think again that's a necessary thing. I don't know if it can be completely removed of it. I think it needs to be something as respected as what divinity or the hells or nature or elements or arcane or time or order give. Again, it's balance in all things. I feel like beings that can ascend to godhood also need to be challenged or have have the ability to be challenged and changed, if not replaced.
A structure whereby the forces of chaos are negotiated with, where they are allowed a sort of soft intermingling with the other realms, or something of this nature. Such a path is unclear to me, but perhaps there is a chance. Perhaps this is something that can be done.
I think it's much like Izzy said. I think it's the presence of magic. I think that's the chaos.
I think rather than attempt to surround or contain chaos, or to put ourselves above it, much less beneath it, I think situating ourselves alongside chaos is the perspective. This would require, of course, an explicit alliance with Sardior and the others, of equality, of standing alongside one another.
It seems unlikely that Sardior would be willing to lower himself into alliance.
The dragons have acknowledged our strength and cleverness.
They have. The draconic, or the violence of the draconic deities that we witnessed in these visions seems conclusive, but there is no reason it has to be. No reason, at least, that I can think of or adduce for such a, uh, you know, conclusive way of existing.
Is there a way that we can bring Tiamat to the forefront? Or is she sort of locked away in her nether realm as well?
Tiamat would have been one of the gods, perhaps sent somebody marked on her behalf to restore the order that previously existed. You don't know necessarily who that person would have been. Perhaps if Terran had been a little bit more chaotic, a little bit more evil, she would have chosen him.
Oh, could I sort of like assume, since we've all been marked and I've all seen, like I've seen us all sort of grow in power. Is there a way that like I can sort of sense different marked individuals?
Yeah, you notice that they glow. At least they aren't touched by the Shadowfell, so they look normal colored in a world that's full of darkness. You have seen beings who glow this way. One you've seen was Gilgamesh.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, didn't we see Gilgamesh glowing?
Yeah. And what about the Queen of Luskan? Is she just regular bland?
She was regular.
Yeah,
She
she's
was
diet.
wearing an
Regular old
amulet.
vampire.
And she's diet. She's diet plain. Um. Well, I think it might be a good idea to at least talk to Gilgamesh. Um, but I guess a further question to the DM would be, if I were to like concentrate on like, let's say, Isilda's music, and like closing my eyes, would I have like other than knowing that she's like in the room or present, like would I feel a connection
Ooh,
with her,
that's a good
or like
question.
since her like difference,
Yeah,
like with
I would say not necessarily a connection. You'd see it; it's visible. They are embodiments of serious power, but No, I wouldn't say you'd like feel connected to them because they aren't. It's not the same marks. Like you don't. Saloon was not like necessarily tethered to Ilmater. They had
Yeah,
their
I
own
guess.
domains and their own acolytes and their own meddlings in the material plane. Basically, everybody had their own plane and then also had an extension of influence into the material plane. All of it
Gotcha.
limited, of course.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like since we all saw the same vision, like there is some
Oh,
connectedness.
yeah, I guess.
So I'm thinking of like if I focus on like that round, it's like there's some sort of like
For the record,
base
you
connection.
didn't all see the same vision. What you recalled as your mark expanded were sort of memories that were given to you through the mark, and you saw the same things because you were brought back into that encounter with Charisma, that egg, which when Sardior died, there was a clutch of eggs. Charisma's among them, and so that brought back this connection that you had to your own god. So basically, you saw those events unfold because they were all there. They all, there were 16 of them who banded together to defeat, um, Sardior. All of them together, and so you all kind of remembered that from your own perspective, or at least from the perspective of the god who marked you. So Vosner saw those events through the eyes of Saloon, and Damon saw it through the eyes of Primus, etc.
And just so I'm clear with what's happened at the table, Damon, Vosner, and Isolde have all at least like sort of given some indication as to what they saw in the vision
Yep.
or what they experienced in the vision. And Taryn and Varel are playing it close to the chest right now.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Okay.
Varel just is
I mean, not playing it close to the chest like y'all are being sneaky, but just like.
Yeah, I don't think Taryn has said anything about his vision.
Yeah.
He's not like hiding it, but it just
Yeah.
Yeah. And neither has Varel made it explicit, but it's
Yeah,
at
yeah.
work and the kinds of things he's suggesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Taryn was hiding. I mean, Taryn's vision was mostly focused on Bahamut.
Yeah.
With
Sorry,
his
I don't mean to
sister
imply that
fighting.
you guys are
Yeah.
hiding things.
Yeah. For the record, and during that entire engagement, there were chromatic and metallic dragons fighting against gem dragons, like in the sky. Like it was a huge battle.
Yeah. But Terran as Bahamut would have been would have probably had the most accurate read on just how powerful Sardior is.
Yeah, that they needed all of them together to take down Sardior.
Word.
And that Bahamut's motivation was to help. Basically, Bahamut was not of the usurpers, but joined forces with them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Bahamut is a child of Sardior, but
Correct.
joined the usurpers.
Same with Tiamat.
And the motivation was kind of like get rid of the chaos.
Or at least contain it.
Yeah.
So concretely, we acquire the other gems, bring back Sardior so as to eliminate the shadow, and then either interrogate Larlock ahead of time to discover his intentions, or or seek an alliance with the dragons ahead of time?
We should decide before we bring them back.
Sure.
Concretely, the next 3 steps are probably going to be the same regardless of.
You not necessarily. I mean, for the 3 plans that you'd already considered, for the plan where sort of Johop's world, where there's no magic at all, that would just require destroying Shar and removing her, the Shadowfell's connection to the material plane. And then, I guess it would be then destroying just the Thanes of Sardior.
Just that.
You wouldn't have to bring back Sardia. You could just destroy all of them, and it would slowly drain the magic from the entire.
Would we also have to destroy ourselves?
That is an open question. You could be in a world absent of magic and be the only ones with power.
We had been discussing a world where magic is available, something to the effect of merit and enabling the vulnerable selective access to it.
Yeah.
That would require, I believe that would require the dragons to have some presence, which would mean binding Sardior's eggs.
Right. But I think since we decided not to go the recreate a normal vanilla Earth route, we need the dragon.
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we can always leave. We can always leave cutting the material plane off from everything to, the next time all this happens, and whoever has to decide then.
Yeah.
Am I right in understanding that cutting the material plane off like completely, would be a essentially irreversible thing?
That's for you to figure out in campaign, I don't know, 2 or 3 or whatever the fuck we're calling it.
I was just thinking, how funny would it be if in like 20 years we played this same campaign again, but just ended it differently?
That is also an option. Guys want to do the Guild of Mossstone too? Could play as Dragon Squad.
I don't know. Marin's real
has become the ultimate benevolent tyrant that we have to overthrow in order to restore freedom.
Yeah, I can see us taking on Marin.
Hey, Marin's gone. It's up to you guys now. Don't put this shit on him. He closed his loop.
And we spent so much time being suspicious of Marin. We were like, what's he hiding in that guild?
Just
and we're
the
like,
end
oh no,
of the
he's
world.
just a pawn.
Just
a pawn.
crystal dragon egg. Super casual.
I mean, he did know the world was going to end and didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, what a dick.
I respect that. People don't need to know.
It's true. It's like giving everyone 9th level spells at like 2 years old. Let's not do that.
That would have been a little harsh on day 1. Welcome to the guild. The world is going to end when you're about level 14.
And it's all up to you.
Wow, it sounds like a philosophy professor, just like, you know what, the world's gonna end, we're all gonna die. Make of it what you will.
Fucking philosophy professor.
I usually start by assuring my 19-year-old students that they'll live forever. That intuition is correct.
I don't know, I'm more of a Star Trek.
You're
Like, just hit them while they're down.
That's how I get through every day, Stan. Man, It's just such good news that I'm never gonna die. What a relief.
Like, I'm aware of my own mortality, but I'm convinced my dog is never gonna die, so I've got to do everything to, like, prepare her.
True.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Eric says that to Ace all the time. He's like, "You're gonna be so old when we die, and you're still alive, because you live forever."
Yep.
Yep.
He's a good boy. He deserves it.
That's how life works. Or it's how life could work in the new cosmos.
True.
Good
All
boys.
dogs live forever.
Good boys live forever. New rule.
Hmm.
I'm sold.
Dogs are the carriers of all magical essence, and you have to befriend one, otherwise you can't get magical powers.
Hey man, somebody could choose to be god of dogs. I'm not gonna rule it out.
I don't know. I think the dogs are gods. That would be it.
I believe Vosner started off this campaign mostly as a cat, though. So there's gonna be some lore conflict
No,
there.
I was a wolf.
Cats
you were a
different.
panther for like, and a lion for like a bunch of the campaign.
That's true.
Cats have a different mechanic where instead of being immortal with one life, they just endlessly get a new life over and over again.
Nice.
First edition, it was only 9, but
But they have to experience death each of those times. So they are the true evil. Because they know true suffering.
Yeah, and on top of this, you'll have to figure out what you're gonna do with souls. Reincarnation, or they go to an afterlife. New ones are created all the time. They get obliviated. Whatever.
post-death multiple choice.
We'll create a game based on rolling. Oh no, rolling
Quick
chance.
question. With regard to souls, how is the mind-body problem solved?
Dude, I was just gonna go there, Stan.
Yeah, we got
That's
from the
so
problem of
funny.
evil to the problem of how substances can touch.
Because I'm all for an occasionalist universe.
Is the true moral of the story that philosophers shouldn't play D&D together?
Yes.
Not high level.
Yeah.
That we can always approach an ending, but never actually reach it.
Wow.
I think the
Nina's
theologian,
D&D
the
campaign.
theologian would say is like, we don't need a mind-body problem. We're all in soul one body. So
Oh,
without our physical
Oh, it's
beings, we
Xena's philosophical campaign.
there
precisely.
you go.
We always get halfway through it, but we can never get more than halfway to the
That's
end.
actually not that far from the truth.
It's not that far from the
Just-
truth.
We're always just halfway there.
You guys always do about half of what I prepare.
I'm pretty sure we have implicitly solved why the powerful should care for or the ways in which the powerful should care for the vulnerable in the discussion we just had about the next world. But maybe I'm
Totally
reading
done
into
and
things.
sorted.
Maybe I'm reading into things.
Yo, are you
but-
saying that this campaign is publishable?
As long as
I
we
will
keep
put it on my
recorded.
CV.
Yeah.
This campaign probably is publishable.
For real.
I mean, it's already made public, so.
I mean, you guys are just
Okay.
giving me the
Yeah.
lore for the campaign I'm writing next.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. I already have a great character for it.
I'm pumped. You haven't decided what the setting is yet.
Oh, it's the moon. Definitely got to be the moon. Essentially, we screw up the material like the Earth, and everyone is just placed on the moon.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a legit live question in this whole thing of like if the material plane is like all the planets or just one planet, how all of that works. I haven't answered it, and there's a reason.
What would the moon
Don't
in
ask
the
me.
wild look like? Like say moon. Weird. Even more weird.
In my head canon, we're talking about this planet. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Back to the task at hand. Kill the gods and become gods ourselves, or ally with the dragons and
Both.
We've got to
It
come
does.
close
both.
to death a couple more times before that happens. We've got some serious fighting to do.
Sure.
Yeah, and Varel would not feel very confident in our capacity to subdue and destroy the dragons, but reach a harmonious alliance feels within reach.
Yeah, but if things go south, we should get the other marked
Wait, you want
ones
a
on board.
harmonious alliance with the dragons?
I imagined us alongside chaos rather than trying to
Oh,
contain
okay.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
Varel's
think that
on
was.
team let the dragons take over and try to hang with the chaos.
I think so. I think we might try to strike an alliance with Sardior.
And in so hanging, allow magic by merit and caring for the other humans and interacting and tending gardens, etc.
And we're just like a council of, like Avengers that go out and like handle problems that come from allowing
Yeah,
such potent forces of chaos to continue to exist.
we are the sieve. Yeah, the filter.
Okay.
All right, path 6, go.
I guess, is this a point where you guys are actually coming to some sort of vote on that then?
I think so.
I think so.
All
Would-
right.
Well, okay, yeah.
So,
Try and strike a balance.
Like, do we want to each
Regardless.
individually say what we have in mind at this point, or have we?
yeah, go around the table.
All right. So I like the idea of striking a balance, aligning with Sardior, but striking a balance. I don't know if he would be willing to go along. So I have reservations about its possibility, but it sounds like a good, best possible outcome. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Varel would say almost identically with less reservations about its possibility based on, I think it was a conversation I had with Hrodel in the heart of the forest, where I asked about the role of us in the world of dragons, and I think Hrodel recognized that we have the capacity to at least stand for ourselves in such a world, and so I am a bit more confident.
Part of that discussion was essentially him saying that, like, yeah, if you can hack it, if you don't get eaten.
Yeah, and Varel is also confident that we can do some good there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Isolda is optimistic that Sardior, as a creating force, might become empathetic to our ideas in maintaining as much of what has been created as possible. And yeah, she seems pretty on board with allying with Sardior, but maybe having some sort of a contingency plan, but she's confident enough that she has not thought out the contingency plan.
I think Vosner would side on what Isilda said is like, with chaos, it can go a number of ways. So we also need to gather powerful allies with this intention. So we may have to even fight the current gods as well.
The
So
current gods are locked in their domains.
I mean, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
Larla?
Larlock?
Larlock. There you go. We might have to bring Larlock under heel. To kind of get there. and be prepared if we need to fight the dragons too, because we don't know either.
As I have said, I support whatever plan the rest of you land on, with the caveat that, should anything attempt to destroy any one of you, I will make all efforts to destroy that thing with extreme prejudice.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
For the
We are
record,
agreed then.
Oh, sorry. Just for the record, this approach doesn't guarantee any of you are immortal or can live forever or any of those things. So, keep that in mind.
Fair enough.
I assume the only way to live forever would be to eliminate the element of chaos and things.
Or to live on your own plane of existence where you create the rules, so if you left, you would die.
Got you.
Which is what Damon could tell you the gods originally did.
Yeah, if pressed, Varel is more interested in prolonged mortality, but not immortality.
Cool.
Damon would have shared that, by the way, like all the whole structure of everything as far as he understood it and can convey it.
Got it. I guess that sort of challenges my idea of the gods being cowards.
Can't help the people if you're dead.
Guess that's true. Guess we're just gonna have to start a guild where we train young people to do powerful magic so that by the time we pass away, they can be in our place and the cycle will continue on forever. Huh?
Sounds pretty rad.
Could also turn ourselves into liches.
Perfect.
The two extremes. Teachers or liches.
They're not.
No, have any of you read any of the Locked Tomb series?
No.
It's pretty dope. Basically, the protagonists of that series are liches.
So,
It's
They're
the
called
you.
they're called lictors in the book, those books, but they're essentially liches.
amazing.
Okay. Well, you guys keep deciding on what you're gonna do. I'll be right back. I gotta pee, and then we will continue on.
Sounds good.
Bye.
All right, I'm
Dude,
gonna. Yeah.
it sounds like we're in agreement.
I think so.
This is good.
It will
hopefully it's
surely
not
all go
based
wrong.
On completely
took-
misunderstanding the dynamics that John has laid out.
Who knows?
That sounds right to me. It sounds right to me that we're gonna try something completely crazy with no guarantee of success.
D&D, man. We gotta roll the dice.
Hell yeah.
That's how it goes. So what are you all doing this summer?
Go to
Exciting
PA for a
things.
couple of weeks, do some reading,
Nice.
and then teaching ethics summer B, which will be pretty fun.
Nice.
I am working on some translation and reading my way through the phenomenology of spirit, and teaching intro, starting in a few weeks now. How about you?
I just wrapped up TAing for Maymaster Intro to Ethics. And by wrapped up, I mean no more classes, but I gotta finish up grades.
Yeah.
And just working on finishing the second full draft of my dissertation.
Nice.
And hopefully sending it to my committee in the next couple months and defending in the fall.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's only taken me 7 years, but it's fine.
Yo, that is fine.
Yeah. There's
I
been a
mean-
lot going on in those 7 years, man.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a pandemic, several faculty dying or leaving.
Mm-hmm. And the bub. She keeps me busy all the time.
It's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be hopefully coming into town in the fall, and I'll bring her along, and we can all hang out.
That'd be dope.
That would be dope.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, I do not miss living in Florida.
Yeah, it's
Especially
getting
not
hot.
It got to like 78 degrees here the other day, and I was like, man, I gotta go inside.
Sounds brisk.
It was too much.
It's been kind of dry. It's been almost a drought, actually, or I think an overt drought. But it started
Really?
raining in afternoons again. Yeah, the Hillsborough River was almost all dried up, far up by the boathouse.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was spooky. Water level was like 4 inches in some places. It was
Yo,
terrifying.
That is spooky.
I needed to just rain for like 5 days.
Yep.
Get all this humidity out of this air.
How weird.
We're getting the afternoon showers again, but not much.
Did you guys see that there was already a named storm?
No, I did not.
Hurricane Arlene.
Wow. I
But
know
I
it's
don't
going to be
think
an
it's-
active season.
Yeah, I
like
don't think it's
looked
gonna
up
come to you guys.
hurricane season this year a couple days ago, but I actually didn't look at them too carefully
Mm.
because I was on my way out to Across the Spider-Verse when I thought to do it. So
Hell yeah. We haven't seen it yet, but it's on our to-do list.
it's
It's like
so
Garrett's favorite movie was Into the Spider-Verse, so we're pretty stoked about a second one.
dude.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse was probably my favorite superhero movie.
Yeah.
But it might not be anymore. That's all I'll say.
That sounds excellent.
Okay. Did we solve the world's problems?
Oh yeah.
In the abstract, I think.
Yeah, now you guys just gotta do it. Easy thing. You just have to, yeah. Cool.
No.
Julian.
Now we're just gonna have to talk about how we're gonna kill Valindra.
Yes.
Oh boy.
So, next point of order. You guys have decided here, I guess, you've all sort of put your hands together, go team, sort of planned out to bring back Sardior and try to work out a deal with him. Is
That's
that
exactly
correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then you will obviously have to work out something with Larlock, who has one of the amulets. There's the question of Janus's amulet, and there's the question of Valindra, who recently Varel figured out a way to teleport into her chambers. He knows the code. So that is where we left off with that. The question is, do you want to just go there? Do you want to have some sort of plan? Are you going to involve other people or creatures or... Yeah, what are you doing?
Varel, does having those coordinates give you the ability to possibly scry on that location?
I
mean,
would
that
think
runs-
so. Let me check the letter of the text on the scry spell, but that sounds reasonable.
I would say Varel would probably know better than most that a wizard sanctum It's gonna be protected from scry magics.
Yeah, I mean that does seem like it would run the risk of at least giving away our position a little bit, that like we have coordinates in, but that versus the cost of teleporting in blind.
You don't have to take this route. You know where she is physically, or at least you know where the floating city is hanging over Moston. So you could just fly there or teleport near there or whatever you want. It is a floating city, and it's probably, thousands of meters in the air.
And we don't think we can reliably have a reliable way to draw her out.
Yeah. I mean, she does seem to show up at stuff.
I mean, we could just go in.
Could
What do
we?
we know about Mossstone?
The city itself is a ruin. You witnessed it briefly in your time there post merge, as you were teleported through time and arrived there, and then were waited there for a minute or something, 10 minutes, while Varel drew a teleportation circle that got you all to Ythryn. And in that time, you would have seen a shattered ceiling, which would have revealed to you the flying city, and shadow dragons flying through the air, sort of on patrol, which is what you saw. And then they came and fought at you.
Could we hop into somewhere nearish to Mossstone, so that we might get her instead of one of the other generals, and then just start messing shit up and try to draw her out?
Maybe. I'm totally blanking on this. Was there not a gold dragon in the Wheeldath? And what happened to that dragon?
That dragon joined you in the fight for Mossstone. And you don't know.
I think
Should
we
we
were
maybe
assuming they died defending it, like everyone else.
should we
Could always send a
go
message.
to the Wheeldath and see? And also we know where the headquarters was of the Company of Eight. Maybe there's resources in the Wheeldath that we don't know about.
Are you talking about bread?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he died in the defense too.
I think so.
You also
again,
know that he was Larlock's student.
Yeah.
Oh.
So if we're gonna betray Larlock, if he's alive, we probably don't want to wrap this.
Fair enough. Is there a way to scry on the gold dragon since we've seen them?
Yeah.
I mean,
Or I
You could
can try
probably
to
leave a
send a
talking about
message?
the young one that Taryn and Bosner hung out with? Or are we talking about the Great One of Legend?
The Great One of Legend.
Oh,
Okay.
the young one is the one. I don't know if we knew of a Great One of Legend in the
Yeah.
Wheeldath. Did we establish that canonically?
We established that there was a legend about it canonically.
I know baked into the first chapter, the company bait had a dragon wormling friend, and then eventually it was old enough, and that's what Taryn and Vosner. That's who Taryn and Vosner met.
Okay.
But
I'm
that wasn't the
confusing.
super ancient, and I don't know if we ever established there being a super ancient one.
Okay, I might have got the wires crossed on that.
Same.
Fun fact, though, that's where Taryn first saw the Legend of Sardior. A big poem left in his treasure hoard.
Yep.
Intrigue. Well, at any rate, we could kind of go and set up a base closer to Milestone and see if we could draw her out.
Yeah. Like, I'm thinking we could pop into, like, if you go on the map, like, Kalimshan or Matmata or Memnon. Or something that's kind of close.
It's pretty far. I mean, do I have it set to mileage? Yeah, that's like 400 miles away.
I mean, but they teleport. I just was thinking somewhere that's not one of the other general's realms
Oh.
that
Ooh.
would be closer to her than the other general's realms. So, like, not doing something in the north where we get the double lady unless.
Got it.
I mean, they can all teleport at this point. Or they can all be teleported.
Yeah, it's fair.
And they are on to you a little. You keep coming in, ganking them, and leaving.
Yeah, we gotta stop that. We gotta, like, actually kill some folks.
Yeah, that'd be a good call.
And
I mean,
the
our other
disadvantage of just teleporting straight into her lair would be what? That she's got home turf advantage?
but she'd be surprised.
And that we maybe don't have except if we're going to rely on like a Varel teleport. We don't necessarily know how we're getting out, except through fighting our way through an indeterminate number of enemies.
Mm.
Oh, we always have your sanctuary.
Yeah.
But that requires
Which,
time to cast a spell, does it not?
yeah. Not much
How
time,
long
I
does
don't
that? Much long? How long does that take?
I think Word of Recall is pretty quick. Let me look. Yeah, it's just one action.
Oh, hell yeah.
Me and up to 5 willing creatures within 5 feet of me, so everyone would have to gather up real close, real quick.
I do have this that can be used for that. I'm just going to put it in here so you can see it.
Yo, I have that same spell. That's funny.
So, assuming we're all close enough to begin with, that means between Varel and I, we could get us clustered pretty quick.
Mm.
Yeah, if a bunch of throws fail, yeah, I could follow up.
That's pretty cool. That's like a little boom boom combo.
Or even just making space between the enemy and ourselves.
Yeah. The combo going off requires also that, like, scatter goes off, and then before they can split us up, that you get to cast your Word of Recall.
Say, as you're working on this strategy, sitting in your home in the Dragon Isle ruins, you look out the window over the balcony and you see dragons flying, some of them new arriving. The presence of charisma has been felt far and wide. You feel as life and energy and magic returns to this city. Number of people filling it, making it full of life. Dragonborn arriving from far, settling into some of the houses.
Do we get the feeling that this is like safe, or should we be worried that there'll be like an attack on?
Well, you get the feeling right now that there's pilgrimages happening from all over Faerun. Though there is a sense that this is a place that could be attacked. That
Yeah.
the time is of the essence here, because the longer you take, the higher chance that Shar and her armies march on this location. And if you don't have the things set in place by then, well, it could be pretty disastrous.
Well, let's weaken Shar by weakening her generals. We setting a trap for Valindra?
What's your plan?
Thinking.
Going guns blazing.
Do we know biographically, supposing we follow through with seeking Valindra out next for that gem, do we know biographically, like, things she wants, people she's interested in, hostages we can take, leverage we can obtain?
About Valinja?
If we wanted to, I heard somebody, I think it was Isolde mention setting up home base in the Wheeldath and dealing with things from there. Wonder if there's anything we could use to lure her out.
You know she is the High Wizard working for Shar. You know that she was responsible for conquering the Empire of Thay when they arrived, and that there are a number of Thayan wizards who are sort of in her under her command now. You know she lives in a tower, that Shar is also present in that city. That there's a massive shadow dragon, like a colossal size shadow dragon there.
That's the one that was in the final fight, right?
Yes, Septus.
That's a cool name. Terrifies me.
Yep, I came up with it when we were still on Roll20.
Nice.
Wow.
Man, this has been a ride.
And actually, Natalie came up with it. I told her it was too good. I couldn't use it on the green the green spider.
Oh,
I used Yakuba instead.
nice. I miss that.
Good old Yakuba. Back when things were simple. Speaking of, that is a location in the Wheeldath that you know. It was a druid enclave that was corrupted and taken over by Yakuba, that you eventually purged, and that the druids of Mossstone did take over.
Oh, that's right. Bosner, healed the land.
Mm-hmm.
That'd make a nice little stronghold for us.
Yeah.
If it's still there.
Yeah, do you guys want to go there and check it out?
Yeah, check that out. See if we can hunker down there and cause some problem.
Let me dig up that map.
Back when Leif was stabbing us in the back.
Oh.
Literally.
Literally.
I think I literally died and then Terran blew my head off or something. Like real easy.
Yeah, E cut his head off and carried it with him, dropping one of his swords, I'm pretty sure.
Worth it.
And then, didn't E die in that fight? No. He died
No.
to a kraken. All of
Yeah.
Dylan's
Oh.
characters died to krakens.
There's a life lesson
Summon
there
Shadow
somewhere. I'm sure.
Kraken.
That's why I
Uh,
think. No, I think I just want to spend time killing krakens.
Yver died in that fight.
Iver, yeah. He sacrificed himself so you guys could flee? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Taryn had to stay.
Yep.
Wow.
Good stuff. I do not have that scene. We could, if you want to teleport there, I'll have that set up for next time. I guess I have some things set up, but if you want to do something else, then I'm not going to like say, no, you go here instead. So you guys tell me what you want to do. You want to go to that old druid glade.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I
what?
could probably just there.
Yeah, you could definitely teleport via tree, no problem. Just Vosner can get you there.
Plan an attack on Valindra?
Yeah. If there's any powerful beings that we can that could help us.
You have a few people you could do sending messages to? Is there anybody in particular you'd want to have help you for this particular stretch?
So I'm trying to think of like other allies that we would have in the area.
Or people you could offer things to?
Oh, we could definitely ask Gilgamesh. He's not here, is he?
No. He's with Larlock. When the Isle of Gunderlin was taken over by the bad guys, or by the Shadowfell, I suppose, the Queen and Gilgamesh and a bunch of her troops were in retreat, and Larlock saved them, and that is how he got the necklace. So now you know that the Queen and Gilgamesh are allied with Larlock.
So they were in retreat. Did they keep their island, or are they like
No,
scattered?
it's sacked. They lost the fight.
Yeah, they were so cocky.
Yeah. Turns out you all kicking the hornet's nest didn't bode well for them.
You know, they could have asked for help, but
All right, so let's plan on going to the Wheeldath. Like what? We don't even really know who's alive and who's not. Maybe we should just like spend a day, like if we're not under a huge time constraint, like spend a day trying to magically communicate with as many allies as we know. Like try to send a message to, I don't know, Milliardo, or just I don't know. I know above table that all of our teachers are dead, but does Izzy know that all of our teachers are dead?
Yeah, Lyra was there at the final battle and described the entire events to you when you first got here. She described how Septus killed all of the... basically just won that battle. All of your teachers were killed. Though they could be true resurrected. You've got some diamonds. Who you want to bring back?
Do you all suppose Hrodel or Mel or some of the dragons could help us? Maybe make a pseudo-dragon isle in the Wheeldath?
like a forward piece.
And I think
I don't
that
know if I would want to risk Rodel, since we need all of the Thanes of Sardior in order to resurrect Sardior.
Sure.
Like, if we bring Rodel into combat and Rodel dies, we're gonna be pretty fucked.
Good point.
Yeah.
But
But
perhaps
now,
some
or that ancient dragon.
Totally disposable.
Well, they would be powerful allies.
Yeah.
But like, this is assuming they come out and attack us, right? Because we're not smuggling a full-size dragon into a tower.
Right. Well, I mean, if Dragon Isle is a beacon of light in the shadow, then I wonder if bringing enough of that closer to Mossstone and the Wieldath would be a sort of attention getting.
But it has to be the right size such that it gets her, but it doesn't get Septus.
This is true.
So we don't want like a couple of ancient dragons bumming around.
Yeah.
I feel like we must just need to teleport into her chambers then, because, like, I don't know, if we start setting up a stronghold, I feel like she's gonna rally a bunch of folks to come at us, whereas if we, like, suddenly spring into the castle, we might be able to dispatch her pretty quickly.
We're not known for our stealth.
Just
We are
spring-
not.
Launch a meteor storm. Jump out.
Yeah, metagame. You know, my full health is 105 hit points now. So if we meet her at full, when I'm at full health, she can't just, turn me off.
Yeah. What I'm saying is we need a total of 18 seconds to teleport in. All of us cast a very powerful spell. Grab the
So
thing, teleport out.
Just nuke her tower.
Yeah,
I
in
mean-
and out in 3 rounds.
I'm intrigued by it.
I think we could do it.
In 3 days, I get an illusory dragon cast, so I could bring that along with.
Is there any way that we could simultaneously set up dragons entering Mossstone at the same time that we bamf into the castle?
Like a
Such that, like,
of
yeah,
dra-
like a distraction, but like pretty immediately 1-2. Like, we don't want her to leave the castle yet, but we want everything else to leave the castle?
Yep, you could definitely coordinate that with the dragons. And for the record, there are now a number of ancient, I haven't put them all on the screen, but there are ancient copper dragons and bronze and silver, like there are, and now chromatic dragons are also beginning to appear on the side of this. So like, you basically have an army of dragons who are currently defending this place, but could be asked to go on the offensive.
Yeah, if we could get dragons to appear in Mossstone, and like even if they were to like directly challenge this other dragon, like tell him that he's a disgrace or whatever, we might be able to get some of the castle's defenses headed to Mossstone, within the first 5 minutes of this dragon encroachment on Mossstone, and then we bamf to wherever Valindra is.
I'm worried this might be getting too complicated. One, because we don't know if there are any like spies among the dragons, and two, what if she joins the fight before we get there? What if this attack makes Shar go, "Hey, I should probably deal with that," instead of kind of ignore it for a while?
Okay, so to give you all a little bit more background, because Charisma is actually the dragon god responsible for sort of strategy in the wartime efforts for Sardior, so it's like sort of that aspect of him. So Charisma would have a number of sort of spies throughout this entire network that, like dragons who are reporting There's telepathic links between these dragons. So one of the things I was going to detail, and we can play it out if you want, is effectively Charisma is now aware that Shar knows about the island and is mustering troops, but it is very far away, and they can't just teleport them all. And the island is in the middle of the sea, which would require boats. So there is a it's going to take time, but Char is on the way here.
Right. So there's not time to like dick around. You gotta like get in.
Yeah, it's not like tomorrow, but it's, there's probably a week before Char gets here with forces.
Got it.
At least ground troops. Char could be here tomorrow or any moment.
Terrifying.
It all depends on our D6 rolls, I assume.
Partially.
I'll keep up those ones. Don't worry, guys.
Keeping
I
it
mean, I think that's
interesting.
the plan: is wait for Shar and Cephas to attack, and then get when the base is empty, then we go for it.
I think you would see all of the generals present at the Dragon Isle ruins, and if you want to fight Shar and Cephas and every general, because none of them have died, and you will have Mel and Larlock and Charisma and some dragons. I mean, that's a fight we could play out.
We got to start this whole collect the gems again thing over.
And kill the general.
Let's just fucking go gank Valindra. Surprise
I'm in.
attack. We'll do it. We'll kill her quick, and then we'll do the 1-2 word of recall back to Dragon Isle.
Wow, I'm on board.
Sounds good. Do this.
Squad leader.
Okay.
Done.
Are you evoking the help of anybody? Mel, Larlock, Aureus? You gonna call up Aureus?
I would love Mel's help.
Okay.
But like, what's he gonna do inside a tower?
It's a big tower. It's not like a 2x2. It's not like Varyl's tower. It's like the premier Arc Wizard's tower. It's fucking massive. But
I feel like we're just setting up to sacrifice my friend as like cannon fodder to Cephas.
I do worry that that's happening, but it is also the case that this entire timeline is meant to be replaced. So,
I mean, replacing the timeline is a completely alternative direction.
Yeah, we didn't discuss that at all.
Yeah, you guys didn't I guess that's another thing. You can undo time. You can just go back. You could delete this timeline entirely. Go back to like before the gods arrived and just establish Stardior in power.
Could we go back to like the moment after the Big Bang and just erase everything and be like, this whole existence thing was a mistake?
You definitely could. That's the hard nihilist route. That's Rock Universe.
So my worry about not bringing Mel is that Valindra's really fucking powerful. And I don't want to go in, half equipped. But
Yeah, that's fair.
we could ask Mel if they want to join or not.
I think that would be a good idea. How many people can you teleport with word of recall? It's up to 5, so it would be like each person.
It's me and 5 willing creatures.
Okay, so there's 4 willing creatures right now. Mel is 5.
Right. So that would be the limit of our alliances. We can bring one other person safely.
Yeah, and Mel would be like having a big dragon just apparate in your wizard tower in front of you is
It's a good surprise attack.
Right?
surprise
So-
attack. Yeah,
Bringing a
Yeah,
big old
just
great
need to
worm.
be in, out, and on your way.
And if
All right.
dragons are as chaotic as they appear, I'm sure some maybe will volunteer, even though there's no safe escape.
Let's go talk to Mel and see if Mel has any ideas.
Dragonborn, like
And
Player.
charisma as well as the strategist, right? Might be.
True.
They're all out in the square if you want to talk to them, whoever you want to talk to.
okay, we have a plan. We need to see if it's viable or not. And I'll address all the dragons generally. You know, Jing, Throttle, and Chris. Plan to go and attack Valindra, the one of the generals who's in current possession of one of the crystals shards. But we need to see the viability of our plan. Through magical means, we plan to, I essentially just explain. Like, we're gonna bamf in, get the drop on her, kill her quick, nuke the place as best we can, and bamf out. Do you think that would be a viable plan? Would it be victorious if we do something like that?
Just to quicken things, they generally think that this might work. You could get in, get the drop on her, try to kill her, get the amulet. But they do worry. Char could show up, Seftis could show up. They agree that perhaps drawing Char and Seftis away, or at least Seftis away, Char doesn't really leave her quarters much. She is vulnerable. If she dies, she dies. So, there could be a strategy where the dragons are part of a distraction force or part of an assault, with the idea of assaulting and then retreating very quickly after drawing out the forces.
If that's possible, then the 5 of us plus a volunteer could make quick work of Valindra.
I mean,
We had the idea of setting up in the Wheeldath in an old druid glaive to draw attention out. So
okay. You could definitely have the dragons hang out there and wait for your signal or something to attack. That is very possible. Then the second order of business, if there are 5 of you, you can pick who you want to come into the tower with you. And by you can pick, I mean literally, if you want, I will create a character, an NPC for you to bring with you. You could bring Lyra, you could bring any resurrected person that you know of. There's a lot of options here. So maybe by next week or next time we meet, you all come up with who it is that you want to bring with. If you're going to true resurrect someone or whatever, that's an option.
Bring Joe Hoff back. Force him back into life.
Yeah, he'd be so pissed.
I think True Resurrect might work on. I can't remember if we discerned that. There's a bunch of other resurrects don't work because he died of old age.
Yeah.
What about justice for old Bart?
Yeah.
Who got eaten by the Vander? No, wait, did he get eaten?
Yeah, it was Vanderhoof.
Yeah, by the Vanderhub.
By the
And then we found out he
Vanderhub.
was like sending the money to his like granddaughter or something.
That was
Yeah.
bad.
You guys want to bring back old Bart?
Justice
You
for
want
old
badass.
Bart.
But he has to be a
Amazing.
powerful, like, ranger now.
Oh, we could bring back E.
We could bring back E.
Wow.
Can we bring back E since he was an undead?
Yep. His soul would create a new body.
Yeah, I do think
Though,
it's
I
let's
guess
bring like a level 8 to help us out in this epic
there
battle.
is there is a little bit of a pickle here because the souls of the people who died before the merge would technically be
Right.
Trapped in the realms with the
sequestered
gods.
into their own planes. Yeah,
Right.
so E's probably on like in the Beastlands or something, Arborea or wherever.
I guess justice for old Bart will have to be the epilogue.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, for the record, by siding with Sardior, what you'll effectively be doing is re-merging all of the planes, which would technically bring back all of those beings.
Whoa.
So yeah, you know what? Come to think of it, Ilmater and Amonitor and all them would be like actual beings again in this material plane.
Like mortal beings?
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Right in the face.
Asmodeus.
So
Guys, we have to figure out what we want to happen to souls once they die, though.
Yep.
No.
well, default is a reincarnation cycle in Sardior's world.
I'm cool with that.
Sounds neat.
You know that would give us the opportunity to take vengeance on Asmodeus, right,
Yep.
Sam?
Yep, that's the plan.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, plan 6. Nailed it.
Yeah, we're gonna have a pretty massive epilogue campaign where you guys.
Well, there's just gonna be room for so many level 20 like 1-shots or 2-shots.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you guys going and I mean, first of all, you're gonna have to deal with all the gods who are mad at you for dethroning them. So that's gonna be a pickle.
I figured that Sardior would probably want to hunt down most of them out of.
That's a good point.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just
Sardior's
do a
gonna
contest with who can kill who first.
capture and torture Ilmater.
Ah,
It's in the
I don't know how
suffering.
I feel about that.
Well, you'd be helping.
Oh, man.
Oh.
It'd be Isolde's job to keep him alive for more.
Yeah, he'd be the one who has to like bring his liver back every day or whatever.
Oh, boy.
What a
Alright, we
pickle.
gotta run things up here.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys tell me. I think the general plan is you guys are gonna bamf into a tower, and there's gonna be a dragon distraction outside. If you want to add to that plan, let me know throughout the week, and we will start with that next time. Just funny, cause yeah. Anyways.
Yo, is 2 weeks from today Father's Day?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Would you guys
Do we need
rather
to work
meet?
around that?
Yeah. Would you rather meet next week instead?
I would rather meet next week instead because in 2 weeks, I'm gonna be with Tim in Maine.
Oh
Nice.
my God, I'm jealous.
Wow.
Aren't you all jealous?
Yep.
Though technically, if we waited and then we met in 2 weeks, you could bring back Joe Hoff. Tim
Oh,
could
don't tempt me,
play
John.
with us.
Don't tempt me.
I will be traveling on the 11th,
Oh.
so I won't be able to play next week.
Okay.
Well,
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 let's do it on the
Violet-
18th then.
okay, we can just figure out a schedule.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm available on Father's Day.
Oh.
'Cause,
I'm-
all I have is cats. But
Nice. I'm free for whatever. And honestly, now that it's summer, I'm a little bit more loosey-goosey. We could definitely do like a Thursday game or something. If I don't know what people's availability is, but like if people want to play, if we want to play more and try to push through to finish this summer, we definitely could. I am open to these ideas.
Likewise.
Somebody
Yeah,
wants to
Garrett-
take over the scheduling side of things and make my life easier, I'd be happy to give over the reins.
Garrett's restaurant is closed on Mondays, so Monday nights is also a possibility for us.
I'm down for
Not
Mondays.
nights, like evenings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I could probably do the 12th or the 19th, so...
Yeah. I'm
cool.
down.
Yeah, same.
And we plan on the 12th at like 5 p.m.
Probably, yeah.
I'll have to confirm, but I believe off the top of my head that's doable.
5 Eastern.
Yeah,
I think I could
flexible.
What day is that
Flexible, but yeah, evening
Fine.
on.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm here
teach
for it.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday until 5. So if we started after,
Yep.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I work until 5 Monday through Friday because I'm a square, but
All right.
yeah. All right. If anyone has issues with the 12th between now and then, put them in the chat.
Noted.
Cool.
Thanks for
Sweet.
deciding the fate of
Great.
the cosmos. I'm excited to play it out with you guys.
Yeah.
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
that's
Exciting. All right. I
Bye,
miss you all
friends.
already.
Bye,
Alright,
Miss you.
y'all.
see you all.
Bye.